Raise your hand here if you felt the need to prove yourself on the basis, diba, of your sexual identity. Us as queer people should just simply stay true to ourselves, follow our dreams, take up spaces in wherever we want to pursue.
Hey there, guys. I'm Raffy.
And hi, I'm Nathan, and welcome to another episode of AIESEC Leads.
And so for today's show, we're going to be discussing some very important matters and also learn together as we read the room.
Yes, that's right. And right now it's the month of June, meaning that it's Pride Month. So yes, to my fellow members of the LGBTQ plus community, Happy Pride. So yes, Happy Pride mga mahal.
Happy Pride, everyone.
All right. And now, even though we couldn't celebrate Pride outdoors with our usual marches and all, that doesn't mean that Pride has stopped. In fact, with all the news about anti-LGBTQ plus discrimination and violence recently, the fight for equality, which is what Pride has always stood for, still goes on. And we definitely still have a long way to go. And that's why this Pride Month and even after, AIESEC and UPD continues to join the LGBTQ plus community in forwarding our calls for SOGI equality now.
Sabi mo nga naman, Nate, absolutely spot on. We have so much to do. We still have so much more to further.
Yes.
As allies, as members of the LGBTQ community, and which is exactly why we're going to be celebrating Pride. And what better way to be celebrating Pride than talk about it, have these discussions about the different matters when it comes to the LGBTQIA plus community here in our country.
Okay, but we're definitely not going to be reading the room alone, right, Raffy? So for today, we have a very special guest joining us. So he's our dear alumnus here in AIESEC and UPD, the rising star who plays Carl in the highly acclaimed series Gaya sa Pelikula, and a proud member of the LGBTQ plus community. Everybody, give it up for our guest, Paolo Pangilinan. Hi, Paolo.
Hi, AIESEC!
What's up? Feeling? Are you feeling
Excellent!
happy Pride, Pao? Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, happy Pride. Thank you for having me here, Nathan, Raffy, AIESEC.
Thank you talaga for joining us here on this episode of AIESEC Leads and helping us, read the room.
Yes, we're really, really happy to have you here. And before we even start the discussion, I want to have a little icebreaker, a few fast questions, so that an audience can get to know you a little bit better, and so that we can get to know you a little. Does that sound okay with you, Pao?
Yes, I'm ready.
What's your favorite color, Pao?
Blue. Pia words back blue.
Relationship or career?
Career.
Slow burn or love at first sight?
Love at first sight.
What's your favorite series, Pao?
I would say pose.
Yeah, pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
PBH, we've been
right?
you.
So we have another question, Pao. So imagine it's a new SEM, new faces, new people. How would you introduce yourself in the most Paolo Pangilinan way possible?
Ito, edi papasok lang ako doon, tapos parang sasabihin ko, hello po, ako po si Paolo Pangilinan, kaka-babe ng Project 6 at kilabot po ng UPCHK.
Yes!
Nandito po ako para gisingin ng iba, patulugin ng iba, pero at the end of the day, gabi na. So,
thank you so much for answering our initial icebreaker questions, Pao. So now, Nathan, I think we're more ready than ever to read the room with Pao Pans.
Since it's the month of June, we're celebrating Prides. And with you being a proud member of the community and someone that people definitely look up to these days, we just want to, read the room and discuss Pride with you and talk about some of the different realities that our community, the queer community, faces until today.
Start off our discussion. We want to be able to ask you, what exactly is the essence of being able to celebrate Pride?
being Pride is acknowledging that it is a protest first and foremost. It is a call to address the disparities among LGBTQIA plus individuals and the heteronormative folk. There does exist a disparity and unequal opportunities for work, for education, for economic opportunities in media, in religion, in politics. The essence of Pride is acknowledging that there is a problem that needs to be solved. That is why, we band and come together as a community to say that these things are not fair and to let people know what they're missing.
So yun, I really love what you said, Pao, na yun nga, it's like to remind everyone na Pride is a protest.
As a queer actor who starred in a story of queer experiences and romance, Gas Pelikula, we also have a bunch of questions related to this.
One of the special episodes of Kaya sa Pelikula released earlier this month, you mentioned na malaking bagay para sa'yo na you're a homosexual person portraying a homosexual character. We just want to ask if you saw any similarities with your character of Carl.
The similarities is that we look at things with such great wonder. He was in a very tumultuous time, in a very crucial stage in his life. The first year college is daunting for anyone. I really saw a lot of myself in him in that there were so many opportunities, and Carl could not let them miss. Diba? Na parang there was this opportunity to shift. There was this opportunity to join an org. There was an opportunity to find love. I think that similarity resonates with so many other people too. That's why but I believe we approach things in a very different way because I make decisions very fast, very quick, while Carl does take his time.
It's really great nga that you were able to do the character of Carl. You also mentioned in the special episode of Guys sa Pelikula, you actually have the same Soji as the character you're portraying, right? And for those of you that don't know, Soji stands for sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. So actually, this observation in the BL series, correct me if I'm wrong, there's actually quite a number of straight actors taking on the role of queer characters. So how do you think this can affect or is affecting the queer community as a whole in terms of representation? What do you think we can do moving forward?
It affects it in that it doesn't affect it. It doesn't affect the movement as much. Of course, what people are looking for is someone that they could find are similar to themselves both in art and out of it, diba? Because art is what makes us feel. Seeing people out there becoming someone people can relate to in terms of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, you see that these things are possible, and our exposure in media lets us take up space, which is very few for out members of the community. So it doesn't affect the movement as much. There is a need for more queer entertainment. Diba? Diba? I don't feel naman that there is something inherently evil about it. It's just cliche. It just doesn't reinvent the status quo. It is conforming to the status quo. It does attempt to maintain what does work for a certain group of people. But you see that all minorities combined are a majority. I feel that the more that minorities are exposed in media, the greater effect it has on the majority. It's a paradox.
We really saw, watching Guys sa Pelikula, we saw that Carl's character really went through this super real journey of finding his true self and embracing it. It wasn't all that easy for him. And even on the second to the last episode nga, he was still scared of what other people will think of him once they find out about his sexuality. And this is an experience that a lot of queer Filipinos have. Because of our conservative culture here, parang we still feel afraid to express ourselves. And this culture can be oppressive talaga towards our community, the queer community. And we just want to ask, despite these oppressive structures that we have, what do you think, Pao, are the small steps that us as queer people can take to celebrate our own identities and stay true to who we are?
To yourselves, follow your dreams, because in doing so, you see that the world truly is unfair to our kind. There's no way going about it. You really see that we are placed at the higher standards. We're not diba, sa mga LGBTQ na parang like raise your hand here if you felt the need to prove yourself on the basis diba, of your sexual identity, diba, gender expression and all that. So like us as queer people should just simply stay true to ourselves, follow our dreams, take up spaces in wherever we want to pursue. I try to take up as much space as I can in the field of health, in media, and because there aren't too many allotted for us. We're still a diversity quota. You see na parang still while the world is changing, diba, in ideological state apparatuses, just the academy has already put na parang in your production, there should be an X amount of women, X amount of LGBTQIA plus, and then parang yung mga manonominate, X number should be about women, X number should be about the minority. So while we do have those policies in place, I think that more should be put, and that it should not exist in just one dimension only. It shouldn't just be in entertainment. It shouldn't just be in health. Because the more that we take up spaces, the more that we are represented. Do you think that in every equation that is presented in health, such as glomerular, diba, something as like standardized as glomerular filtration rate in medicine. Do you think that they took into account to the participants to get that glomerular filtration rate were non-white, were of color, were they of color, were the participants intersex, or diba, there is such a huge disparity lang talaga in health if you just take into account participants if they're just white, diba? So parang the mere fact that we are taking up spaces means a lot because it gives a message to other queer individuals that we are part of a majority. We are normal. We are like a huge percentage of the population that have just been shoved into the margins because of a heteronormative patriarchal system that has reinforced the status quo throughout the ages. How many scientists, how many queer scientists do you think are out there that have not disclosed their sexual identity and orientation, diba, on the basis of like being discriminated against in health? Like in my field, in health, in doing so, I create positive social change by creating better health outcomes by taking up research involving the community. Like right now, I'm doing a paper about drugs in the context of sex in the LGBTQIA plus community. So that in itself make people heard, people known, and our narratives exposed into the universe that normalize. Our parents were already alive by the time that being LGBTQ was no longer considered a disease. So parang they lived in a time where it was considered a psychological disorder. Diba, do you see that there's so many barriers put in place? So simply by taking up spaces and where we want to, by staying true to ourselves, we make a change. And that in itself is not that there is no such thing as a little thing, no matter how small of a step it when we take up space.
I really love the answer because empowering in the sense that exactly that is the best thing that we can do is to stay true to ourselves and take up space. And we all have a role, even as allies, as members of the LGBT community. It's not. It's easier said than done though because you're not exactly in the best conditions in this country then because we have that tradition, that culture of being there's still so much discrimination faced by the LGBT community, and that's exactly why we asked that question. And changes would you like to see in our society being made that are connected to the queer community?
We need policies both at an institutional level, a national level. We need them in schools. We need them in workplaces where we are protected because diba, up until today, you see in media that there's still hate crimes are still being committed, regardless whether we're faced with a health crisis or not. I also want to see HIV treatment to be made available, more available for my cohorts, male, young, because these things are doable. All it needs to do is, diba, for people to stop. Like, I don't know what they need to stop doing. I just know that they should reallocate the funds out of their pockets and into research. But I would like to see that. And I think that we are capable of making changes towards those goals, right? In whichever way we can, signing petitions, protesting, registering to vote as a community, and do that. Those are the changes that I want to see. We can do that best by making informed decisions and including the marginalized people, which are not just the LGBTQI plus community, they're also the underprivileged in education, they're also the underprivileged in socioeconomic status, they're also the underprivileged in lack of political leverage. Those are the things that I want to see. I want to see policies that protect the LGBTQIA plus communities from discrimination, from their jobs being taken away on the basis of their SOGI. I want more research on the community. I want more narratives out there, regardless if it's a qualitative study or research into HIV therapy or anything that involves the community. I want it to be more out there. I want to see more queer actors taking up both queer roles and straight roles. Yeah, I want to see it everywhere in all spheres of life. I think by having conversations such as these, there's a greater chance for them to come into fruition.
One of the things you said is like research being done, and yeah, research is definitely one of the best ways also, I think, to educate people as well about our experiences, because sometimes parang medyo nababrush aside lang yung realities natin. And I think I guess we're all familiar here naman with the SOGI Equality Bill, diba? And it's not yet a law because a lot of people are protesting against it. Our question now, I guess, is what can you say to these people who are against these changes being made? Say no, to those people who say no to the SOGI Equality Bill.
I just want to show them how much positive social impact they will be missing out. Because the SOGI Equality Bill was made to protect the LGBTQIA plus community from negative, unlawful, unjust treatment on the basis of their SOGI. They are, diba, that these protect the community from a greater harm. How could anyone say no to that? Um,
And
you don't have to, diba, like you don't have to be gay to care. You just have to be human.
super true. And yeah, all of us have SOGI. Just in
Yeah,
case some people think, SOGI is something
it's not just for the people in the LGBT community. Everyone has
yeah,
a SOGI. I have a SOGI. Everyone has a SOGI.
yeah.
So we're in the pandemic. We're only at home. People are still trying to pass the SOGI equality bill, and to no avail. It's still not yet passed, and we're here. We're at home, and since we're at home, we can't exactly celebrate Pride the typical way with all these marches and all these things. So how do you think we can continue to celebrate Pride?
Well, we're lucky to be in an age where we can communicate virtually a lot. That in itself holds huge power. I just celebrate Pride by wearing my gayness on my sleeve, I guess, because I am a part of the a very colorful group, and I hope that people get finally, that people get bored of it. Na parang like, oh, na parang like, na parang it's too normal, na parang like, oh yay, LGBT yay. Na alam mo yun, I just wish there would
Hindi
come
na
a
shock
time,
factor
oh, na it's no longer a
normal
factor.
in
Na parang, oh, you're
society.
gay. Okay. Yung parang gano'n, na parang like, oh, you're gay. I wish na parang like when people would come and be that are straight, and then the parang responses, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that you're straight. We still accept you. Parang gano'n, parang I wish na parang like sometimes the tables. But then yeah, celebrate Pride in a lot of ways, especially in virtually, where that holds so much power. At home, I let my dad hold the rainbow flag
Yes.
after so many conversations about like how many kids do you want and that
Yeah. Oh
that ain't
my
gonna
god.
happen. And don't ever think that whatever you do to celebrate Pride is little.
And I think that's an important takeaway. Like you also said that earlier, that there's no little thing. Like there's no such thing as a small step, because every step that we take as queer people is very big step. And ayun, representation is also something that combines these two, I guess. And we believe talaga that representation matters, and it helps uplift people, it helps highlight real experiences, and that's why ayun, we love the work that you're doing, Pao. Like yun nga, like as you said, like, and ayun, you talked about taking up space earlier, and now I guess we just want to ask, as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, what can you say about the importance of this taking up space as a queer person?
Taking up space enables so many other advancements for peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential to take place. If you take up these spaces, you allow for any other queer individual to take up more space. And in doing so, the disparity lessens and the gap gets closer. And every step that we take as queer people, we bridge the gap.
Taking up space was a very central idea here in our discussion today about like as you mentioned, and everyone can take up space. It is best that everyone takes up space to help those who are not able to take up space.
Siguro to close off this episode of Read the Room with you, Pao,
Mhm.
last question siguro is, what can you say to fellow members of the queer community who feel afraid to take up space and express their true selves?
Yeah, and, I think I've said it before, but it needs to be echoed, and I think there is strength in repeating things over and over again so that we learn about it. The first safe space that you will make is the one within yourself. And that, hope that you take care of yourself first. Out there, you don't know what's gonna happen, whether how many no's you're gonna take. The world is like not yet where it's supposed to be. So I hope that you do create a safe space within yourself while you tell yourself that you are worthy, you are good, and at the same time, you still are, no matter what achievements you make, you are nothing without love for yourself. Your achievements aren't your spark. Your achievements do not, while they do sound nice, they all mean nothing if you don't love yourself. So yeah, make sure na the first safe space that you make is the one within you. From then on, find safe spaces wherever you can and then nurture them. They can be found in friends, they can be found in orgs, they can be found at home, hopefully. And wherever you can find that, nurture that.
As someone who's part of the community and uh, knows these realities, I can say now for me it was a hard thing to come to terms with who I am and like embrace my sexuality, embrace my truth and all. And ayun, I think that was such an empowering message to say the very least. And I'm so grateful, Pao, that you said that, and super thank you for that and for all the insights that you've shared today as we talked about pride, and for being a strong advocate for our community, our causes, and thank you for taking a strong stand as you continue to tell our community stories on screen and even off screen.
You really couldn't have said it any better, Nate. And yes, thank you so much, Pao, for agreeing to come here. As an ally of the queer community, I recognize that I still have so much to learn, and I for sure learned a lot just from this discussion alone. So thank you so much for joining us in today's episode and helping us read the room.
Ayan, but wait, okay, so this isn't our only episodes with you, right, Pao Pang?
It isn't our last episode. We still have so much more content for you guys.
Yes, and okay, Pao, where can people find you?
Just follow me, Pao Pangs everywhere. It's just Pao Pangs everywhere. If I'm not Pao Pangs, I didn't want you to find it.
You heard it here from Pao Pangs. If he doesn't want you to find them, then it's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
But make sure you follow his socials, and thank you, Pao Pangs. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and see you next time here on AIESEC Leads.
Where you can be one with AIESEC. See you again soon, and happy Pride once again. Happy Pride, Mamahal.
Hey everyone, to catch more episode of AIESEC Leads, go follow AIESEC and UPD's pages here. This is Pao Pangs, I read the room, and I'm one with AIESEC.
Yay!